Hello, my dear friends on the internet, and welcome to another coding session. In this session, we will continue on that text data that we were slowly building, a bit too slowly, but still, let's at least try to get the editing capabilities. So, let me get a quick recap of what I had done so far, because I had also forgot what I have done so far a bit. So, yeah. Uh, Basically, we have these files, right? And we have a test for gap buffers. Oh, last time I think we did a small test on gap buffers. And the implementation is most probably in one of these tools. So that I have to see. Yeah, we'll do a bit of cleanup, but not now. We can do that a bit later actually. So without further delay, let's get started. Go back one directory so that we are in the root of our project, and let's open. Mm, how about we open or make a file or anything that we have build.lat, right? Just to see as to what we are doing. Right. So this is what our current building looks like. That's fine. But I'd like to do one more thing. I'd like to let's say have an example file and pass that example itself to this editor, right? As command line arguments. So yeah, let's say the file name is example slash text dot txt. I don't know. Right. But the file doesn't exist, then we'll just make. Let's just check if we have an example. Oh, we already have. Okay, so this is test.txt. We can just do with that. So uh, test.txt, right? So first things first, I need to find out a way to handle the keyboard inputs, right? So probably these are the dependencies that we're using, right? In the source, you can have something like uh, user input dot hpp, right? Which will basically contain the logic for all the user input, I guess. So include drag movements, and I think still there is no one, but that's fine. One of the goal is to get things done. The sound is coming a bit more at my end, so I will just adjust this a bit. This should be good, I guess. I'll just test the buffer a bit. But to be honest, like I found that in one of the videos, the like my voice was completely distorted, and like right now I don't know how we can detect that by myself. Okay. Anyways, so let's include our like the platform windows, right? Because I don't know, like you will see. Um, but yeah, right now we're not using it, so it's throwing some kind of um, an error, but that's fine. So let's and what namespace were we using? Really? Also, we need to check. Right? Text editor is empty. Nice. In text edit, we have this gap buffer, right? Where we had basically last time implemented a very basic gap buffer where you could append some text. The delete functionality was not there. And then we had this thing and we had written this thing. I don't know if this is correct or not. So that we have to check, but this should be correct, like because we're just initializing the gap buffers. Basically, we are loading the file as a string, Then we are looking for how many gap buffers we need to get this text um, loaded. Followed by that, we're basically taking the actual C string inside that file content string, and then we are looping through that text content and filling our buffers, right? So this is pretty much simple, not that complicated. And this is the final one. If if we have some additional text still remaining, right? Uh, yeah, like it looks good. So yeah, let's look at input now, right? Oh, I wanted to see what namespace we were using. Okay, we're using SP. Yeah, so namespace SP, I guess. And let's struct user input. So for UI, the easiest way will perhaps be to use something like inheritance from a base element, but I would like to avoid it as much as possible, um, because like, inheritance is good. There is no fault in that. So that being said, we will have something like void in it, where we will initialize everything that's required for our user input, and maybe something like a void update. Right? We'll look at the parameters and anything that is required right now. Um, but yeah, so what I would like to have is like we can just let me check. So in the utils, right? In the utils, we have this macro defined because somehow line is not trying to use the whatever the header files are available, but it's trying to look for some other version of those header files. But yeah, that's fine. So let's get this thing here, and then let's include backpack maybe. Yeah. With that, let's let's like have a vector of characters, something like keyboard input buffer, right? Something like that. We can say that key input buffer also. That's fine. And in our init, let's first empty this key input buffer. Dot clear, I think, not empty. Empty is just a boolean which checks if the buffer is empty or not. Followed by we can have a bit of reservation. So key input buffer dot reserve. Let's say we want to reserve for like 64. Right. So until we hit this 64 elements, basically, this buffer is not going to be like reallocating with a double size. That's the idea behind doing this, right? And yeah, that's fine. Let's do one more thing. Let's open our main because I forgot like how we were we are taking our inputs, right? So that thing also we need to figure out. What we will figure out. So BSP source main, I guess. So this is our main. We have this text edit which we are not directly using right now. So for now, let's comment it. Uh, yeah, that's fine. And as you can see, we have this callbacks, right? So one of these callbacks can essentially become our user inputs callback, right? So we can do that. Let's try doing that. Maybe we will need to bind, but we'll see. Or we can just make this thing a single tone, right? That is also a valid option. Right? So we'll see. So this thing is a void function, right? On event, this thing, right? This thing, what kind of function is this? Is this a void? Yeah, this is a void function. So let's just get the signature, right? Get the signature. and you can say that process input, something like that. And this process input is basically going to be using the same arguments, right? Whatever is here. I'm thinking of like reducing the size of the window a bit, like font size, so that I can see better. Yeah, that's better. So with that, let's um, and we can have the other parameters as well, right? Because one of the parameters is our renderer itself, which is declared here somewhere, right? Uh, where is the render? This thing, right? So we can take that as a parameter as well, because at some point of time this input has to be reflected on the renderer itself. So hash include renderer dot hpp, maybe, if I can spell it correctly. And this thing, the second thing that it's going to take is a reference to our renderer. Right. Where am I? Why is this looking a bit off? So the first parameter is this window, right? And the second parameter is basically this event. The third parameter is going to be the renderer. Actually, I can remove this as SPA because we are also already inside the SPA space. So that should be fine. So sprite renderer reference renderer, something like that. Right. But there is one problem, and the problem is obvious. If you can see, basically, we are going to use this as a callback to this on event function, right? So we can't modify the signature directly. So what we can actually do is we can store this as a pointer. I'm not using like the default constructors. If I had used the default constructor, I could have stored the reference, but that's fine. I can always have a pointer as well, because at the end of the day, it's the same thing. So we will set this to null pointer. Maybe in our input, we can like take a pointer to this. So right render reference. Uh, right. And what we basically do is render equals to RND, something like that. Yeah, no, it's happy. And also we need to remove this comma. So now that we have everything, let's try to get this thing moving, right? So we have this editor as well, which we need to get in maybe. Yeah, we will see. Like one the way we can do is that we can get the update from here. So for example, here I can store the wheel delta, right? Whatever the wheel delta is. So I guess this is a int for now. So int wheel delta is equals to 0, right? So basically, first things first, this if not initialized to return, right? We need to take care of that as well, right? So this is some kind of a boolean value, I guess, right? This thing. So let's take that as well. So here, or bool initialized. So let's copy this stuff. Right. Um, that we are passing the initialized here, so it should be fine actually. I just thought of a thing. Let's keep it this way. That's fine. So what I'm thinking of doing, right, is this thing, right? I changed my mind. So let's do this. Include user input, right? And now we can have user input initialized. User input user input, something like that. And then we can say user input dot init, and there we can pass our basically renderer, right? And also this wheel delta we will just getting from there, right? So that's fine. So this part is okay. This part is okay. This part, whatever is going, I would like to cut this thing off from here, and I would like to put this in process input basically. So something like that, right? Because we have this wheel delta available here. So let's just format this a bit, something like that. And so we are setting this wheel delta, right? And so we can, instead of this, we can just say that user input dot wheel delta, and that should be perfectly fine. And also here we can call this user input dot process for any additional processing that we might be doing, right? So let's do that. User input dot process input, right? And the process input basically takes the window and the event, right? And yeah, we have separated this processing logic. So as you can see, this event is basically like Windows event, right? So I think there was a event for text or something like that. So I'd like to check like how the actual event looks like. So let's open this platform thing, right? And inside this platform thing, we can look at like we have this P code and everything, right? So one of the flags that you might want to have is like is shift down uh, false, and maybe same for control. So is control down and is alt down. Because in that case, we might want to process things a bit differently, right? And in the event itself, oh, nice, we have a key down, right? So we're not, and then we have basically key down in case of key down, we're doing this, and key up, right? But in ideal scenario, whenever we have a key up, right, we want to set those first. So let's just get that thing in place, right? So if let's say our event dot key basically key down, and we press basically, is this a enum or an enum class? Okay, this is enum class, so we need to say key code colon shift, I guess. This is the shift, left shift, yeah. And the same goes for right shift because we don't like distinguish between left shift and right shift, right? So I just want to get the input correct first a bit. So let's just do that. So this will be like right shift, right? And yeah, if that's the scenario, in that case, basically is shift down is going to be true. So, or we can just say that is shift down equals to this, but this is fine, fine as well. Else, we would like to have like if this is not down, right? This is released, so is shift down is equals to false. So right now just to do that only, like you can do this, right? Is shift down is equals to this expression because this is a boolean expression clearly, And you can remove this part, whatever this is, right? Yeah. Um, so yeah, we need to remove this, and let's put this in the next line. So something like that, right? So this takes care of basically the shape, right? So in update, every time we update, I want to know if we are like having the shift down or not, right? This is the first thing that I want to observe. So let's do that. Let's have an update. In update, we'll basically say that okay, print it. So we will that is a console a bit for now, but will get rid of those things once we find out that it's working. First thing is shift, right? So the and then we'll have something like percentile D, right? So this will tell us if the shift is down, right? And then we'll have like control, which is also percentile D, right? And we'll have also like alt, right? Which is also percentile D, right? This will basically tell us that okay, these things are down or not. We can have something like that, and basically we can have them as in. So int s is equals to is shift down, int c is equals to is control down. Like I don't right now just convert them and pass them. That's why that makes any sense. And int a is equals to is alt down basically. And I can pass these things here. Mm, So S, C, and A, something like that. Okay, and this thing we will check in the update itself, right? So what I probably like to do right now. Okay, this is a window, so definitely not here, but rather in the main, right? What I would like to do is I would like to limit the keyframe right now so that we're not like getting bombarded with a lot of messages. So something like sleep should work. So I think HTTP this should also have sleep for right. And before I will just say 20. Does it work? I think it takes some chrono time. So yeah, that sucks. Thanks Microsoft. Sorry, thanks C++ standard. So STD, if I can spell correctly. So no time duration. What's the time duration? What do they have? STD chrono duration, right? Um, I think it's millisecond. Just duration already has a millisecond or microseconds. They have microseconds, right? Let's try that. If it works, then good. It doesn't work, we'll just use normal system sleep. Okay, so duration requires a template argument, right? So something like int should work, I guess. Now it says microsecond in yesterday chrono, November named microsecond. Okay, so yeah. And why put it there? Right. I forgot actually how to use chrono. Like you can just check on the internet, but for now I don't want to mm, like care about it. So we'll do a simple thing. We'll just include std, I guess. live. Right. Mm. Then what you can do is basically we can say here that okay, this side zipper doesn't work actually. Oh, nice. So we can use this one, I guess. So this sleep will take a duration, right? So let's put a duration of 200. Right? It's complaining. Sleep is deprecated, but I don't care. Is this also deprecated? Okay, this doesn't. This isn't available. But yeah, for now we can have that, and we can have this one. I don't care. Uh, the reason is that I just want to call update. So user input dot update. So that should get the update going, right? So if we just build, right? So yeah, we are getting the values, and this is our text editor. And now in the text editor itself, if I let's say press shift, so nothing actually happens. Okay, and for control alt, same case, nothing actually happens. So yeah, we need to check that why it's not working. So one reason might be that so if this is right, like this key down is going to return false, right? Whenever that key is up, and maybe because we are sleeping, that might also be the issue. Let's do this. Are we processing? And is this file saved? That is also a question. So let's just try one more time. This time I will just hold it for a bit. No, I don't want sticky keys. But yeah, as expected, things don't always work, even if we are holding shift. Yep. So yeah, we need to somehow fix that thing, right? Because all of these are false. So I just want to check one thing, right? That like if this code actually works, right? 'Cause that's one doubt that I have. So this is left shift, right? I just want to paste this. 'Cause if the code doesn't work, we can fix that code. Right? Something like printf press something like that. Yeah, it should be outside. I totally respect. So let's try this one more time. This time with some feelings. And if I press shift, it really doesn't detect any shift. Really does not detect any shift. Then if I press right shift, it doesn't detect. Okay, so whatever the shift code is, clearly it's not working. But let's say if I have something like A, does A work? If I press A, right? So surprisingly, A actually works. Right? You can see, right? You pressed left shift when I pressed A, but first shift it didn't detect, right? So why is that? That we need to understand, right? And that answer itself is inside this header file, most likely. All right. Mm, 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 mm. So the shift and these things do not work. So we can left shift, right? So do we have some event processing at some place? Um, okay. This is a cool code. Like this is how you basically initialize a OpenGL for Windows API. But yeah. let's not go there. Let's check where we are processing the input because there something is not right. Right. So I guess where are we processing? Where are we processing the input? In the update, we are translating in this thing, right? And we have resize and all these functions, center, activate here, blah blah blah. Okay, so this is the callback, right? And I'm hoping that okay, this callback is setting another callback, which is this. And in that callback, it's basically like passing things, right? Whatever the message callback is. It's just passing things and it's getting done. So that is all the input processing that it's actually doing. So this is like a very basic input processing, right? Um, but that actually helps because that means that we are basically we can basically process input ourselves in the user input, right? We have the definition of very generic input processing, and that's actually good. So let's just go to user input, uh, and this is user input, right? So instead of doing this, right, because it's uh, what key down is doing then is key down is doing is key down is somewhere defined in the event itself, right? So this basically returns that this thing, right? So you can search for Windows events actually. So let's just go to ChatGPT because it's a good search engine in my opinion. Windows API detect shift. Mm, that's not for you. That's the issue. Okay, get async key state event driven. So WM key down and WM key up, right? So they should clearly work, right? Because like we have this W param equals to that value. So and we are clearly checking for key down, right? We look at here. We're checking in W param or L param. We're checking in W param, right? The message is key down and W param. We're just static casting the W param to the key, right? So and we have this right like VK shift and right. So why isn't it detecting them? Okay, we're checking for key up, right? So let's ask for that. Okay, like for key up is it's also same, right? So key up and W param equals to VK shift. So if we look at here, right, where we are essentially doing the same thing. Return message is WM key up, and then this thing, right? Why are shift not open? We just ask this. So is shift up getting? Because I know for virtual key, I think there is some other event maybe detected. I'll just no, I think it yeah, right. That's fine. The reason you shift key up isn't being detected is not because your logic is that's fine. Let's break it down. So Windows does send this, right? Instead, always send for both left and right shift. Yeah, that's fine. VK shift. Okay. It does not send shift. uh, so you just clearly wrote okay, okay, okay. So that's the thing, right? So we need to check for VK shift. Let's see if that's true, right? So you can have something like only shift, right? Maybe. So you can have like shift is equals to VK shift. Typical Windows API. So if that's true, that means to detect shift, right? To detect shift, all we need is key code shift. Okay, you can stay here. You can just say shift. Does this solve the issue? It is much more concern. Yeah. So like I don't know if you see, but we're getting the shift key working actually. You look at if we scroll up a bit, right? So with that we can now actually get this thing, this logic working. Right. So one thing I noticed that it's sending only one, right? Even if I holding. So I can't just assign it basically, and that's what it means. But that's fine. Now that we know that, we can just say if this thing VK shift, not only shift, key code shift, right? If this thing is down, right? So that means our shift key is down, else the shift key is up. Right? So we'll say that basically each shift down is equals to true, right? And if ev dot key up key code, if I can type correctly, key code shift, then you can basically say that okay, is shift down is equals to false, right? And that should actually get the shift going, right? So let's check that. Mm, let's just check that. So if we build this thing, right, and we have our editor, now my shift is pressed, and now I release my shift. So yeah, look at that. The shift key is now properly working, except that I'm getting a yeah, like sticky note signal, but that's fine. And let's assume that that scenario is true for all of them, right? So just as Windows played that trick with shift, I'm assuming that it will play the same trick for control. So I'll just have a CTRL here, something like that. And for CTRL, I'll just set that value to something like VK control. I don't know. This seems correct. So let's just verify that. Let's copy this thing and let's paste it here, right? And let's say in this case, the key is actually control. So CTRL here also. In this case, this is CTRL. And look, Windows API is a bit strange. It's control down basically. I don't care about the rest. That's fine. This is also is control down. Right. So now our shift and control both should ideally work. Let me just give this saved a bit. And now we can try. Like we can build this stuff. Right. And if we press shift, it's working. If we press control, it's working. Okay. So alt we can check later. Right. Right now I'm not worried about alt. And we can delete this thing. Right. We'll go to alt when it's needed. So right now we are in one mode. Okay. So let's have something like a like into mode. and let's set it to, let's say, text input or something like that, right? So or you user, something like that, user input text input, right? So we need some modes, right? And those will basically be enum. So enum user input mode, right? And for now we only have user input text input, and that's totally fine. That's fine. So now that we have this mode, which is basically set to this only, just for future, we can have something like a mode. If mode not here, so in the process input itself. So if mode is equals to user underscore user, whatever this atrocity is that I just created, what we will do is we will basically we will get the character, right? So I'm thinking of doing it in an easy way, in some easy way. So one thing we can do simply is use this the actual logic, right? So we can do something like this. If ev dot, basically we should have this raw message, right? Is equals to wn key up or key down. Both is fine. You can check for key down and key up. But what is the difference between key pressed and, yeah? Okay, we are using WM char, right? So yeah, I'm not sure like why even I cared about this. But what we can do is if it's key down, right? That means we have that key, right? Yeah, we can do that, and we can have some kind of timer which basically takes care of things. But right now I just want to get the thing to be going. So if there are multiple key presses, I will get it. So if that's the case, and also our basically the code itself, that is this w param, right? So w param, if we cast it to something like, let's say, character, right? ev dot w param, this thing, like I like this one syntax better because this gives less ambiguity to me. So yeah, so this thing, right? What we can do is we can check if this thing is basically greater than or equals to a. Do we use capital or small? Okay, we use capital. So if this thing is greater than or equals to a, and you can go to next line and you can do the same thing. So ev dot w param is less than equals to z, right? That means we have a character, right? And we can basically append it to our input buffer. But we need to know if it's a small letter or a capital letter. So let's say you can have something like uh, in small letter offset. We'll be doing a bit cheating here, so that's fine. That's what we do. And the small letter offset is basically the difference between capital A and small letter. If it will be one way or other way around, right? So it will be some value, right? And whenever I add this thing, it's supposed to get me to the correct one, right? So if so basically our key input buffer dot push back, and we push back basically we check each shift down, right? And if it's down, in that case we basically push whatever the key code is. So in that case it's normal ev dot w param. But if that's not the case, right? In that case, we push something like our EA mm, plus that offset, right? Plus or minus. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty details, but it's going to be this, and we can format things to look nice always, right? But we're getting this input in the buffer, right? So next, here, what I will actually like to do is for auto key belongs to our key input buffer. I just want to print all the keys, right? So basically, print percentile C and then the key itself, right? If I can spell correctly. And then and end line backslash n. Right. And with this, we should like get a basic text input working, I guess. Let's build this guy. If it builds, okay, we're getting a lot of backslash n's. Okay. Although we are not like appending. Okay, I get it. So I just did this, but this should be this, right? And also if the input buffer dot size, right? Only in that case we're going to print. Otherwise, we don't care. So this should take care of that. Now we can test this, I guess, but I might be wrong. So we have this, right? And okay, so we are getting some wrong values. That's obviously because I'm placing ASPF. So my case is that I need to subtract this. That I told you already, right? It's one way or other way around. But also if shift is down, right? In that case, we only use capital. Otherwise, we use small. But one more thing that we need to check if this casting is being accurate. That is one thing that we need to check. But I guess so. I guess so. So yeah, we have this thing, right? And when I have shift, then we get the capital letters. Okay, but it's man, it's working. Yeah. So that checks out, right? So now it it boils down to this, right? So let's go to main again, and let's hand out this signal, this buffer to our editor, right? So editor is the main guy who handles basically everything, right? It's job of the editor itself. So that's what we're going to do. So in update, we're basically going to take the editor. So editor key reference editor, right? And we need to include editor as well here. So include editor, right? That's fine. So now that we have our editor, what we can do, and yeah, I use mouse with him, deal with it. You can have something like editor dot update, editor dot input buffer, something like that is equals to whatever our key input buffer is. Because for this small amount of vector, the copying is totally fine, right? And then we can just simply say our key input buffer dot clear to get it empty. Right? With that, we can now go to our user input and we can pass our editor, right? So yeah, editor, right? And yeah, let's see complain, but let's go to editor for now. Actually, the project itself is called. editors. So we have a lot of editors. But somewhere here there should be an editor as well. Editor.hpp. I should just type editor.hpp instead. Let's have that vector here, right? So whatever that command was, let's just copy this. Okay. With utils should have vector itself, I think. Like in utils, there should be a vector function somewhere. So I'll just take that as face value. So std vector of character. We'll call this what did it call? Input buffer, right? So input or INP buffer in short, right? And here also I can just call this INP buffer, something like that, something like that, something like that. Okay, clearly INP buffer, right? INP buffer. Okay, we just do this as well, and in this also we can just say INP buff, and here let's save this guy. Don't know why it's crying, but in user input it should be fine. Right? Don't know why it's crying because like okay, I got it. My bad. So this is text edit buffer. Um, the the editor is this guy. So this guy should have it. Which basically contains the text edits. Right. And right now, how do we get the panels drawn? So we have this UI text edit penalty, right? And in that panel we somehow do this hanky panky thing, right? So with that, this text edit buffer, right now it does not have any like actual idea of what the data is, right? So let's slap that bad boy in, and that bad boy is I think here in our implementation of the gap buffer, right? So we did call it something like text edit dot hpp. I don't know. Yeah. So we need this thing, right? Text file buffer key, right? Let's include this guy. So hash include text edit.hpp, and let's have that guy here. So basically, what is it called? Text file buffer. So text file buffer, right? So this contains all our text, right? So now what we want to do is we whenever we are pressing some keys, we want to update the buffer and append that key to the buffer, right? So let's just get that done. So void update buffer std vector of character reference characters, right? And we can have this as const because we're not going to modify that vector by anyway. And here what we are essentially going to do is we're going to say buff dot append. We have a append char here. No, we only have a view, right? That's good. We can do. But right now we have our cursor is 0, right? So every buffer okay. So we need this append character, right? We need to move that cursor. For now, let's say the cursor is at 0. So we need some append function here, right? So basically, what I mean is that void append character. Let's say we can have append string later, but for now, let's only append one character. See, right? So first things first, we need to find the current buffer, right? So every gap buffer should have a length. right? Which basically tells me that okay, this is the length that I have. So but yeah, it also has this cursor, right? So while int cx is equals to cursor, then while then for int I is equals to 0, I is less than 20, or let's say that size I plus plus, right? And if whatever the buffer length is, like the buffers also may be blank. So let's just do things simply, and let's just for now we know that only at least we will have one buffer, right? Let's do that, and then we can go to the complex logic when we are ready to, or we need it, right? Because this one logic I am not 100% sure yet, right? Even though we did it, so always it's good to have some like skeptic look on your code, basically. So with that, what we can do is basically we can say that um, auto b uf or current buffer equals to basically buffs is 0, because buffs is 0 is available, that I know for sure, right? And we have a gap buffer. With this gap buffer, actually we want it as a reference, right? So with this buffer that we have in our hand, we can now say that buffer dot move cursor to our CX, right? Whatever our current cursor is, and then buffer dot. Actually, let's take the vector. Why not? Let's just take this vector because I don't want to call move cursor every time. Although it's not that like I don't want to call it. Okay, I'm sorry. With that, now we can say that for auto C belongs to characters, because like for small characters it does not really matter. Hi, Akax or whatever your name is. Sorry, not whatever, but that what I can spell. And yeah, how is your day going, man? So that being said, we can say uh, 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 so we can say auto C equals to character for every character you just got to append it to the buffer, basically the buff dot append character C, right? Now that our append characters, we should call this append characters because we are like, trying to append multiple characters, basically. So yeah, append characters and characters, right? And that's fine. This thing is also fine. Uh, Now in the editor itself, right? In the editor, we have our like this edit panel, right? Oh, we have somewhere where we're passing this thing. So we have this update logic where we're basically like updating everything, right? And this edit is basically whatever the active edit is, right? So with that, we can say um like if like input buffer dot size, right? If input buffer dot size, in that case, I would like to have that appended to my edit, right? So edit dot append characters. I think that's what you call it. I don't know. Update buffer. Yeah. So edit dot update buffer. Where is it? I got lost. So edit dot update buffer, and in update buffer we basically pass our input buffer, right? Something like that. And then we just say that, okay, clear our input buffer. How about that? And this input buffer is basically updated every time by assign operator. So I don't like, if needed we can reserve, but I don't think that it does actually matter. What matters right now is from this file content, right? This file content, um, we need to get in a way where we just get the buffer view, right? So this view we can start working on it, right? And E might, let's have a very big value of E. I think that makes any sense. So ultimately we need to take this view, right? So and we only are interested in that view itself. So std, okay, we can just call for that view in this function only because the buffer is getting updated itself. Or we can create a function to return that function only, but I don't make any sense. Like I don't see any sense in that, right? So somewhere we are getting this edit, right? This is open file. Okay. Open file is exist. This is not needed. But somewhere we're getting this edit panel, right? Which is this, right? And then we're getting this active panel, whatever it is, and we're drawing a couple of stuff. But this is the thing, right? Panel, the text that panel contains. This thing we essentially need to update, right? For now, we will just simply say get view zero. When we reach there, we will do other stuff. But for now, on this thing, basically, so we'll just say uh, panel.text is equals to basically edit dot whatever the buffer the edit is containing. Because I think we are calling it buffer, right? Input, not input buffer. Okay, what are you calling it? Are you calling it anything? Yeah, we are calling it buffer. So edit.buffer, it's probably time that we start splitting and organizing things. But it's fine. Not really, like it's not that many lines. Uh, you missed something. Where, bro? As of, if I can spell correctly, you missed something there. Where? I missed what? Mm, yeah, like if I need more context, like where did I miss what? So that being said, let's say edit dot buffer dot something like what should we call it? Yeah, get view zero, right? That's why not. So now we need to return this view, right? So for now, what I will basically do is I think we should have something um like for the basic naive implementation, right? We can always like extend things when needed, but like I don't want to like extend things too much before I get to the point, right? So you can have something like a std string. Some string copy is fine. Like I'm fine with this much amount of string copy, right? So std string get steer, something like that. So this will basically return whatever the string or buffer is containing. So the buffer has two parts, right? One part which is before the gap and one part after the gap, right? So std something like we can have something like this vector of character and something like this, right? Where I can basically Okay, this is fine. And then we can reserve some space. So I don't want to like allocate a lot of times. Allocating once is fine. Allocating a lot of times is a like is a hard bug to crack. When it bites very hard. Okay. So reserve something like web buffer size. And we're going to increase the web buffer size, by the way. We're not going to have this small amount of size. But yeah, now that we have this data reserved, we can simply say, or we can simply get that vector itself. We might not even need that string. So let's just do that. Get um get characters, right? And this will return us basically a vector. Right. Mm, so we need to include vector, I guess. But utils already has vector. VCTOR. No, no, okay, my bad. So now we have this, and we can return these things, right? So chars has two part of it. The first is the part where we're saying that for int I is equals to 0, I is less than gap start, I plus plus. And here we are basically saying that, okay, our characters dot push back the currently the character that I am having, right? Which is not this, but it will be buffer I, right? And you can use size t as well, but that's fine. And the second part is this, like I can copy this whole thing, surely, right? And the second part is basically going to be starting from the gap end. So I is equals to gap end, I think. Gap end or gap end plus one, most likely. And it will go up to gap buffer size minus one, something like that. Maybe. It will push the rest of the characters. Right. And then it finally returns those characters. Expression result unused. Yeah, we are returning this thing. So, oh yeah. So I think I was using a language recently, Python-like language, where in that language basically you can just that whatever the last line is you can return. But that thing is also applicable for like when you're using any Jupyter notebook. So, so that being said, right now we just want to create that whole thing. So for auto reference, box or B belongs to whatever our buffers are. So box, right? And for every buffer, we just want to get that vector view, right? So auto character vec is equals to basically our this is also a reference. Right? So auto reference character vec is whatever our current buffer is, we get chance. Right? It gives me the correct view. And now I need to append this vector to this string. And here, I want to check if there is some good way of doing it, right? So yeah, like using like when you are learning to use like to learning to code or like you are practicing, right? What I typically do is I use ChatGPT as a search engine, not a code generator. And when I go wrong, I maybe use it. But yeah, right now I don't want to like spend a lot of time searching stuff. So how do I append a vec of to a string? Right. And I think it's smart enough to understand that. Mm, mm, yeah, exactly. This is what we want. So what this essentially is basically we're taking the two iterators in the vector. Okay, now this str is view data. right? And this vec is character vec. Uh, where is that thing? X src text edit. Yeah, what is it saying? Non-const L value reference, blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, because this function is basically returning it, so I can't do L value. But this should be fine for a basic one, right? Later we can pass fancy stuff and get fancy stuffs out of here. Like we can pass something here or we'll check, right? But now the get view should return us a view of the data. So let's just run and see like if anything happens at all, or if the whole system breaks, right? So something like this, and then you're writing something. Now clearly, whatever you're writing is not getting appended by any means, right? So I just want to know why is that? So and why that logging is still coming? So let's just go to user input, right? And in user input, we're just in the update, we're just doing this, right? So this is fine, right? That key buffer, we're no longer printing. Where the hell is it? It's getting that printed, right? So maybe our compilation failed. That also possible, right? So yeah, mm, command line. This is a warning, right? This is an error. Cannot convert a STD string to character star. Okay, that's an easy thing to fix, and I exactly know where that happened. So yeah, actually our compilation failed. We should probably take that flag and update it, but that's fine. What is that file called? I forgot. Yeah. This is text edit. This should be a text editor, right? My guess is that no, the text editor. This guy, right? Okay, this guy is totally empty. So edit text is there something like that? What is it called, man? Okay, forget about it. Let's go to main. In main, it should be included somewhere, right? Editor. Yeah. So editor.hpp. Um, So here and here, what we need to do is get the C string out of it. Right. But why didn't it complain? Like, shouldn't the intelligence job is to complain? I think it's created the code. Now let's try. Okay, it's still getting some error. So this is in editor line number 166, right? Editor line number 166. There is no 166 here in editor. How are you getting 166? Editor doesn't contain even one. Oh, 116. Sorry, my bad. So where is 116? This guy, na? Yeah. If we just did that, right? Option O has been deprecated and will be removed from release. Okay, this is not equals can convert const. Okay, so we need to just try this. Actually, this should not be allowed. That's a fine error. But in our case, it's a valid thing. So at this point of time, we generated this, right? We have at least something generated. So let's press something, and yeah, nothing happens. Nothing happens. Right. Did it actually crash? Did it actually crash? So Why did it crash? Like last time somebody was asking, like, do we put debug? This is a good place to put debug, but yeah, I am not that guy. So I'll just put up bunch of print statements, okay, as usual. Print from view is percentile s, right, and view data dot system. Yeah, obviously, we need to add a backslash n. So that is the first thing that I want to check. The second thing I want to check is that so if this thing is called right, so we'll get the view. Next thing I want to check is that what characters are we appending? Right. So maybe for I is equals to 0, I is less than yes, equals to, mm, oh, okay, we already have an auto char, right? So print f percentile c and then print f backslash n if I can type correctly, which I highly doubt. But you will get that editing working today if it's not too late. It's getting a bit late actually. So yeah, it generated what? Why is it like? Ah, I understand. So let's just remove this lag first. No longer need lagging support. And yeah, we asked Chrono to help us, but it clearly didn't. That's fine. So now that that lagging part is gone, right? We have this view, right? So somewhere we're doing something which is which is not what's expected. So editor.update this thing, right? But we are also setting that editor data, right? Somewhere. And that should be here actually. Wherever we are setting that input buffer, that input buffer should be set here. Um, okay, and this is just some text that I had put to check the text loading. Uh, oh, I had put a lot of text. But this thing, right? This thing should not be done in this. It should be done here, right? So yeah. So user input dot update editor, and what update basically does, right, is updates this key buffer, right? And so in this scenario, we are going to get only one key, maybe. I don't know, like because this on key event is going to be pressed handled every time that any key is pressed. So I'm not sure if that's the correct place to put it in, but we will see. Um, we are still hanging. We're still accessing something that we shouldn't, and I don't know what. Right. So if we just build it and we don't give any input, in that case, does it cause any kind of issue? It doesn't. Right. It doesn't cause any issue. That's good. So yeah, let's try to figure out as to what went wrong. So in the user input, right? We are basically setting the editor's input buffer, right? to this, and that's fine because this is supposed to copy that data, right? You can just to check, right? And because it's being called every frame, my guess is that the input itself, right? So calling update, and if the input buffer dot size, just say printf the input buffer 0, uh, sorry, percentage c plus n, the input buffer 0 for the first character, because like only one character we will get right now, and then so with that, I should get that calling update thing, right? So I need to check if this update is being reciprocated in the editor itself. So in the editor, right? Basically, when are we updating this buffer here? Okay, so you can say that um printf to editor, something like that. Then input buffer dot size, right? And I really don't know if someone can hear me or not, but yeah, yeah. So the moment we try to copy one character, right, that is when the system is basically failing. It will crash, not all. But we now know that the problem is this guy, right? So as I told you, like that gap buffer thing. So let's go. Uh, 1 second. We have this buffer, right? But if we look at text edit, I probably need to change this name soon. I'm getting too much confused. We're never initializing it. So that's I think is the issue here. Maybe so buffer dot init, right? And we need to pass file content dot system, something like that. Yeah. If we just do this, right, and nothing else. Let's see what happens. Uh, 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 uh. Okay, it failed to open the file. Mm, why did it fail to open the file? Because nothing was there. In example, there is text.txt, right? In text.txt, let's have A, just A for now, right? Um, Cursor being 0 is fine. So yeah, that's fine. Fail to open file A. What? And then if you're saying fail to open file, then why are you giving me A? Okay, in the utility something is going wrong. And that happens only when we basically is trying to access this thing. Previously it just worked. So just let me check it a bit. What is going wrong? Right. So let's open editor.hpp. Right, if I'm correct. So at this point we are getting this file, right? And if the file content is okay, empty, we're returning false. Right. Otherwise we're getting the n lines and we're this doing this buffer, right? And we're using this load file str function, which is basically I think is in utils. So if we go inside utils, right, we get this file to load file, right? So it's a read binary, right? And the file path. For the file path, we got A. Okay, for the file path, we got A. Why did we get file path as A? Let's understand that. So let's go to main. I think this is some silly error. And also we have somehow locked A. Yeah, we have unlocked A. So when we're actually getting this argv, right? From this argv, okay, we are executing file this. Okay, okay. So this is how we are opening, right? We are just opening this example.txt, opening editor.exist open file. Got it, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. If we go to the editor.hpp, here, when we're initializing this guy, right? There is this in it, right? Okay, open existing file, this thing, right? So we have this, right? If edit.init file path. So then the file path goes, and this file path is example.txt. Right? This file path goes into edit.init. So in the init itself, when you're doing this, it's just failing. But until we did this buffer init, it didn't happen, or it happened silently. No, it didn't happen, or it happened. I don't know. I need to know. We have a lot of updates, but essentially, yeah, we didn't fail, right? But when we try to do this, right, file content is supposed to contain the file. Okay, I got it. I got it. So the problem is, I think, in the buffer itself. So text edit is also trying to open that file, but what it should have done is actually read those files. Yeah. So this is the culprit here. Yeah. So let's fix this thing, right? In our text buffer t, we are not going to open the file like this. Okay. What we're going to take is the starting buffer. something like that, right? So with that essentially, if I can do it correctly, right, the text len itself becomes strlen of the starting buffer, right? Not txt, just call this txt. Why not? And then this is also txt. Now this should work, I guess. If I can type correctly. So txt is already system. But we don't have this file data. Using this file data. As far as I know, using txt itself. Because here, when you're copying file data. You copy just txt. You copy just txt. File data go to dustbin. With that, yeah, we are getting some view. Ah, it's getting done a bit wrong. Like, like close this, right? Okay, let's remove all those printers, right? Only keep this view. Um, let's remove this thing. This line maybe. We're not printing anything else here. I think we'll check. So calling update. I think in update also. So is in calling update. This also we don't need, right? So we're getting text appended reverse in reverse, but that's fine. Let's just do that. I know why, because we are already always inserting at zero, right? So we have A, then B, C, right? And it's going opposite, right? So A, quick, brown, and it's coming a bit late and a bit fuzzy, but these things we can arrange, right? So let's first get that reverse problem sorted, right? Let's also increase this to something like 40, like so we essentially start with a very big gap buffer. That's the idea. Which is that issue is not directly used, so we can remove this guy. And then you have this monstrosity kind of thing. I'm starting to hate this client D. Uh, yeah, the problem I was saying is this thing, right? When we are bending, right, we should also increase the cursor essentially. So our cursor itself becomes something like this. Cursor plus equals to, we'll fix stuff later, but for now, cursor plus equals to buff dot size. No, not buff, but charts dot size. Right. We should resize the cursor, and then when we move, we shouldn't get into an issue. And we should at least be able to append some text now. Yeah. So also let's understand like why this is happening, but I'll do that later. Um, let's just add a few characters and let's call this for a day. Um, because the time is almost up and I need to eat something. But yeah, in the next series, we'll next video of this, we'll get that thing fixed and we'll get on the right track. So yeah, we tied these two things together. The last thing is just supporting space and those things. So that will be pretty easy, right? So basically, this, right? So if is ev dot e down, because that's what basically this thing does, right? And e code space, right? Then I want to have space as well. So basically e into local dot pushback this way. This should get space working as well, right? And right now the update is going a bit late. We need to find out why. Okay, because the update is going only the update is being done only when we are doing that, we are processing a new event. Okay, otherwise you're not updating. So rather what I was thinking is it will be better that we process this thing here. We'll check if this should be fine because we actually had a bug at that time. But now if we run this right, we have our editor, and then if we start typing like a quick, I don't understand. Okay, clearly my assumption was wrong. So let's go back to main. Let's get this thing out. Right, let's put this thing here. Right. Let's just give it a run. So now I can say a backspace is not working yet. Yeah, we will get the backspace done later. Basically, we have this thing. Let's just, while we are at it, let's just add a few more operator and let's call this a day. We have space. You can also have enter. Right. At least we can space and enter, I guess. Let's try that. We have this thing. Why does it update after this much? Jump. Let's say, hmm, how does enter work? Okay, enter is not working. That we need to check. But at least we got to a point where we can type stuff. Right. We can do typing and we can get some value in the text editor. So, in my opinion, this is okay. This is a bug that's coming. We need to check that why we are getting PQ. But yeah, at the end, we are able to get some like text down in the editor. And now we can do stuff on top of that. Right. Um, so maybe the like the synchronization we have to work on. That will get done, and also the backspace and the maybe the arrows and like the cursor position, etc. But yeah, the basic integration of the guide buffer with the text editor is done. Yeah, I think that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this session. And I'll see you guys next time. Next time will probably be like that programming language creation string. But yeah, um, we'll get back to this. Or maybe I can just off stream just get everything tidied up once, so that we can go on full speed a bit, and I don't have to spend a lot of time debugging stuff. So I'll see. If that's the case, then I will get this a bit fixed in the off stream, where I can like I'm not like doing things in while speaking, and have my full concentration on the things themselves. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, please hit a like, okay, because it keeps also me motivated to do stuff. But yeah, actually we got to get the gap buffer integrated, right? So like once upon a time there. Okay. Uh, it was too soon. But yeah, it works clearly. There is some synchronization problem that we will get fixed. Yeah. So yeah, see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed this session. If that's so, please hit a like, or like you can comment in general. That will attract more people, and like it's not fun doing streams with just one or two people. So yeah, bye guys, and